Hey everybody, welcome to another live episode on LinkedIn. Thank you LinkedIn for being a part of the beta group. Super excited to be here again this week. I'm hoping that I could do this every single week for you guys. So fingers crossed that kids do not scream in the background and we can have a good conversation every week. This week we are turning the tables because super excited to have on the screen right now Steve Placey. We've been friends for years, right Steve?
Yeah, a few minutes. I don't know, but then
A few minutes. Steve is a branding expert. He's a strategist. He is also recording his podcast right now, Rock Your Business. So I am going to hand over the reins to him, and I am going to be a part of his podcast right now. So enlighten me, buddy. I don't even know what we're talking about today.
We are talking about wine and beer and alcohol. That's what we're talking about today.
And cheese and charcuterie boards.
Right. Tea and crumpets. That's what we're talking about today.
Love.
So, look, and it's awesome to be on here. So thank you for having me on, Michelle. It is insanely awesome to be able to catch up with you. Seriously. So we are going to make this a habit. So today we're talking about, and hey, thanks for everybody watching this, we have a podcast that we're doing called It's the Rock Your Business podcast, available on all the major places, Apple, Google, Stitcher, all those cool places. And what this podcast is focused on is for entrepreneurs and small business owners. And we give them tips about quick tips, things they can go use today to go get more business, to solve problems in their business, which also affects their life. So, because as an entrepreneur, your business is your life. So there's a lot of things that we do. We've had a lot of success. We have over 35,000 customers and contacts. And so we've been doing this for 20 some years. So we're just simply sharing that knowledge. And that's something that I invite all of you to do too, is that there's probably things you might find as monotonous that could be mind-blowing to other people. So video, and that's what we're really talking about today because we have the video queen on here.
The video gal.
Video gal, amazing. Red-haired, awesome lady, So, I respect hair because I have none, but I respect hair greatly. But how to use video in your business, in your life, how to attract people, build a community, things like that with video. So, Michelle, if you're ready to go, I'm ready to go. I'm kind of going to do a little intro for the podcast here, and then we'll rock and roll.
Let's do this.
All right. So, here we go. Ready? And hopefully, I might mess this up. It happens. So,
hey, it's live. Right? There's no redos.
We're good. I'm good. It's good. I can handle it. All right. Hey, Stephen Placey here with another edition of the Rock Your Business podcast. And today I have a very special guest and friend. Some of you may know her. If you've been in Orlando a while, you may recognize the name. And her name is Michelle Burdo, which is now Michelle Burdo Zimmerman.
I don't know. I got so many names.
Acosta. She's like Apollo Creed, where he had like all the nicknames and things like this across there.
Soon I'm going to be like Prince.
Prince, right? Well, just M. I'm me. M-I. So, but anyway, so just a great personality. And today we're talking about how to use video in your business, how to grow your reach, how to gain more customers. So Michelle is an absolute expert in this, and she teaches people how to do this. Is that correct, Michelle?
That is correct. Yay, right. You passed the test.
All right, we're done. So, I'd like to dive right into it if it's okay with you.
Sure.
Video's been around a while. There's a lot of YouTube channels out there. There's people doing video. But there is an exponentially huge amount of people not doing video, and they should be. So I would love to hear from you, Michelle. What are your kind of top reasons? Why should people really be, embracing using video?
Well, I think that video scares a lot of people right off from the beginning because they either don't like what they look like on camera, they don't like what their voice sounds like on camera. They don't know how to stand or position themselves. They say they look fat. And
well, you're positioning, right? I got to look beautiful, right?
Yeah, well, and all of that really does matter. So to give people a little bit of background of why I love video so much, and I talk about it all the time, is because I was a television journalist, and they teach you this. I mean, when I got my master's in broadcast journalism years ago, this is before video became a part of social media platforms at all, they teach you how to properly stand on camera. They teach you how to aesthetically look pleasing, to be quite frank with you, so that people can ultimately really hear and listen to your message. And I always found it so funny when people would email me after a newscast and say, I didn't like your lipstick today. It's too red.
Okay.
I would chuckle.
All right.
But listen, all of those comments really do matter, because that taught me that I have to pay attention to this stuff, because people aren't listening to the words I'm saying. They're focused on my red lipstick. So, when it comes to doing video, I think all of those are barriers for people to overcome. And then by the time they get to the fifth barrier, they're like, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. Is it really going to make my business better? Right?
Yeah, right.
But I got news for you. From 2002, the landscape has changed. Now we're coming up on 2020. And in my mind, video is truly the best way to communicate all of your ideas. And it doesn't matter if you are in a position where you're selling car mats, or you are a doctor and on the verge of having a new breakthrough that you're about to do, your first surgery doing XYZ procedure. All of those stories have a place on video. It's just a matter of how you go about telling your story so that people get engaged and that your message is heard. And I always talk about being clear, concise, and conversational. So I put the emphasis on the message in these videos and teach people how to go through all of those barriers so that, yes, the message is seen, heard, and ultimately impacts people emotionally so that they stay connected with you for the long haul.
Okay, holy cow.
I know, that's just so much.
No, I love this. No, I love this. Okay, in some of the things that you said, I mean, I love everything you said, but some of the things that I think are great with video as well, we've been teaching a lot of video stuff forever, is people can connect with you. Mm-hmm. See, people by people, right? And so I love video because it helps you to hear inflection in people's voice, hear the passion, see the passion, connect with people greater than any text ever could. I mean, there's really no writers in the world that can match the inflection and energy you can feel from watching and hearing people on video. And so I love that. And what you said about connecting with people, building a community, is just unprecedented with video, as you can with video. So, I'd love to hear, maybe I'd love to hear like a case study from you or something, like someone that maybe wasn't really comfortable with doing video, kind of what they did, how you got them going, and what they're kind of seen from starting to do it.
How much time do we have, Steve?
Just give me one good one for now. I could talk to you for hours, so don't worry about that. But give me one or two right now. I'd love to hear it.
So I love talking about individuals in the healthcare industry. And the reason why healthcare personnel have such a journey with video is because because of HIPAA compliance rules, they're not typically turning to video as a point of marketing. And two, they're not normally on stage or in a room full of a lot of people, and a lot of them are introverts, quiet, and this is totally not their jam.
Yeah, right.
So
right.
When I come and start talking to a group of pharmacists or a group of independent healthcare providers, they're really taken aback. Like, I don't need this. This is not for me. How quickly can I get out of this meeting, Michelle? Mm-hmm. So one company I love to talk about, and I hope you guys are watching, Pharmacy Quality Solutions up in Pennsylvania. They have an amazing service. So they teach independent pharmacists across our nation, the 20,000 that help us fill our scripts every single day, and they teach them how to better serve us, the end customer. So recently we put together 20 videos, educational videos for their independent pharmacists on how to be better at what they do. Now, you would think the reason why this is the best case study is because for most people, once they start hearing words like patient adherence or all of this pharmacy jargon, we're done here, right? They tune out. We're not engaging with the audience anymore. And I say to everybody who is trying to put together a message for video, always remember that your audience is half listening. Even if you are in the same industry space and you speak the same language, they're still only half listening to you, right? So we always have to be clear, concise, and conversational. So for those 20 videos that we put together, we had the same template as if I was putting together a story, for instance, for the news, right? Every story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And every story has a point of engagement that starts us off. Right? Last week, if you were on my LinkedIn channel, you heard me talk about digital storytelling, and we started off by saying, once upon a time. Those 4 little words is the universal language for we're about to go into a really good story here. And whether you're in healthcare or pharmacy, you still need to think within this storytelling format of beginning, middle, and end. How am I going to engage? So for those 20 videos, the client gave me all of this pharmacy jargon, and I was able to synthesize it into a script that started off with what your audience can do, and that's engage, introduce, put your meat and potatoes in, and then you're going to conclude and have a call to action. So, right, this is here we go. Here's the hand. Put a ring on it, right? Those are the 5 steps that you need to remember. Those are the 5 steps that you need to remember. So we took all of this content about things that really wouldn't ring true to an end customer. I had no idea the intricacies of the pharmacy world, how Medicare impacts how these pharmacists are now being judged and actually graded because of our government putting in some new laws back in 2006. That's neither here nor there. The point is that when you listen to these videos, you'll actually pay attention, be engaged, and know that content by the end of that 3-minute video because it's in a storytelling format. So that's a great example of how no matter what industry you're in, if you think about video as a tool to get your story and message across, that means that you're going to reach not just the people that are in your industry, but beyond.
I love it. I love that. And that is gigantic. I hope everybody was taking notes on that. See, because there are people that just jump on video and say, hey, here I am on video. Come buy my stuff. It's great. Don't you want to buy my stuff? I mean, that's just, that we all know that marketing has never worked. Right. You know what I mean? And it doesn't work. So storytelling is gigantic. And, I love what you're doing with these people. And you're right. Healthcare, there's a lot, legal, healthcare, stuff like this. They're like, okay, no, I don't want to be on camera. And I'll tell you, I've met some incredibly vibrant people that own brick and mortar stores. And we went to just simply do a testimonial for a customer at their store. And red Converses, green pants, checkered shirts. This is what the person was wearing. Super vibrant personality. You put the camera in front of her and she acted like a 4-year-old girl. Like a 4-year-old shy little girl that just, and that was just, it's hard for people to do sometimes, but it is so important to do. I just love what you said. Education, showing people what you know, a couple different things. Showing people what you know, because people can't read your mind, is something that will always help you connect with people. And doing it through storytelling and case study. See, storytelling is, to me, an extended version of a case study. Okay? Because case studies help people connect with what you do greater than anything else you say. Because people may know people in those situations that they could share that story with. And that's something that I also love about storytelling, is it's so repeatable. Mm-hmm. And that is gigantic. And that's what you want, right? Like, you want your stuff to be repeatable. And then lastly is I don't know I forgot what I was going to say. See, but that's okay. So, it's close to Christmas. My brain's tuning down a little bit, but, no, but repeatable and long form case studies like that, gigantic, showing people what you know, creating community. And again, people will learn to like you, and people by people. So again, they're more open to anything you have to say, you know?
So I think it's important to talk about the different avenues in which people can use video, because you touched upon something. You mentioned case studies and testimonials. And I love case studies and testimonials, but it comes with a caveat. And that caveat is, if you have a testimonial on your website right now and it says, I love XYZ, blah, 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 because here's where I was in the past, and after their services, look at me now, it was fantastic, you should use them. That is not going to resonate.
It's not. No.
Right? So we throw out that terminology because so many people use it now, case studies, testimonials, but it's also the way that you structure your testimonial and your case study goes back to the very point of this conversation, is that there is a format, there is a right way and a wrong way to get these stories across, right? And so this is what I preach. And I'm going to say it again just because I think it's so important. This is the 5-step, put a ring on it method, right? So again, it's literally because this is part of those barriers. We started talking about barriers, and I dovetailed into appearance, which is often a barrier for people. And then once we get through that, they're like, but what am I going to say on camera? Here's what you're going to say on camera, right? First, you're going to engage your audience. Next, you're going to tell them who you are. Most people do that in reverse. Most people introduce themselves and then try to engage. I don't do that, because by that time, you already lost people who don't know or care who you are, right?
That's
so
right.
First you have to pull them in. So engage, introduce, then talk about that story, that bridge of a beginning, middle, and end. And then conclude it again, reiterate your message, and have people leave with a call to action. Give them a reason to love you and like you and have a beer with you, right?
Yeah.
And it's not the ABC approach. See, my dad was a salesman, so I grew up in a household of always be closing from the 1980s. You can do the math and figure out how old I am. But I argue that is no longer, right? There's a right way and a wrong way to create your presence. I would almost be bold enough to say that sales, as we have had it in the past, it is gone. I really think all sales teams should just be called marketers now, right? Because it's not about pushing content. It's about pushing value.
Yeah, it's huge. And you're giving value. And also, you have to give value. Look, it is, again, what we always tell people is to give people one quick win, and with content on video, if you can give people one quick win, then they're more apt to follow you and listen to anything else you have to say. And we teach a lot of networking courses, things like this, that's what we have people say instead of standing up and again selling. But we teach this also too with not only video, but with networking. When people go to networking events, what do they normally do? They're like selling. Hey, I'm Stan, and I sell this, and this, and this, and that's, you should come see me if you want to buy any of that stuff. Like, that is completely ineffective. Like, that was 1970.
Right.
This is all about, when I teach people, I teach them to stand up. Like, I went to an event the other day. You had 5 seconds to tell people what you did. And everybody went around in the room and said, hi, I'm Stan, I'm a mortgage broker. Hi, I'm this, I do insurance. Hi, I'm doing this. Hi, I'm doing that. What I did is I stood up and said, you know what? I said, hi, my name's Stephen Placey, and yes, I am standing. Okay, because I'm short, I'm like 5'8", right? So everybody laughed in the room. And then I said, I help you make yourself unforgettable so people can remember you and want to do business with you. And see, I immediately proved my point right there, because people laughed and then people remember what I said. But then I also told them about podcasts. Podcasts are a great way to expand your reach. And I took like 6-7 seconds to do it, but I got my point across so much faster. And I had like 8 people out of 40 people there come up to me afterwards and said, oh, I love what you said. I need to see how I can work with you. See, that's the difference. What Michelle's talking about here is stop just selling on videos. That's not what it's for. Hey, we're having our big special today. Hey, we're having this. Hey, that stuff's good. I like promotional videos, but not all the time. That's not what builds you community. That's not what's going to be effective long term. And don't you want to have a huge community online that's following you and loves you? That's why what she's saying is so important. And not only that, but with, and I'm going to span it one more time. And I'm going to say like we worked with an automotive dealership over in Orlando, probably about 7-8 years ago. And one of the things we did is we went to them and said, you know what? Let's do bio videos for every one of your repair people in there.
Oh, you're speaking my language.
Okay? Because here's why. People go into the car dealerships, they think every service personnel is out to get them, because they haven't made them people. So you want people to connect with your staff, your employees, see how wonderful your staff is, because if they not only fall in love with your staff and other people, we do this with schools, like your ITT techs and stuff, we've trained them to have their teachers build online communities. Why? Because that people will fall in love with that teacher, and that teacher they work with you. Great. They want to go to your school regardless of what school you are.
I mean, you hit on so many good points here, and one of them goes back to what you were talking about in your networking meeting, where everybody was saying, "Hi, I'm Joe. Hi, I'm Sally. I do this, I do that," and you stood up and did something different. And I want to go back into that strategy of why you chose to do that, because it goes along with everything we've been talking about. We're just using different words. I say engage, and Steve, I forgot what word you used, but be memorable. That's what you were saying. Be memorable.
Unforgettable.
And unforgettable.
Yeah.
And I use the language of engage your audience, and always be clear, concise, and conversational. And when you do those things, you become memorable. What I talk about is the strategy to becoming memorable. We do this in journalism all the time, right? We talk about sound bites, and I don't need to go down this road. And if you need media training, this is what it's all about. How do you speak in sound bites? And you have 10 seconds to get your message across, and you have to be clear, concise, and conversational so that you could be memorable. So the journalist pulls that soundbite and uses it for a story. Guess what? The same is true for audiences. They need to listen to what you're saying, listen to that message, and that's what they're going to go home with and say, I need to call Steve so I could be a part of his new branding strategy because he made an impact on me. So I think it goes beyond, I'm here at a networking event, I'm going to introduce myself, I'm going to have my business card on my forehead and just repeat everything that's on it.
Yay.
You have to change the way you think about it. And the same goes with video. So you actually took the time in that meeting to say, I'm not going to say, I'm Steve Lacey, I'm a branding expert, this is what I do, here's how you could contact me. You made the initiative to think differently to be memorable. And I think that's where it starts. It's how do I, in 2020, get my business out there? How do I think differently about video to get through all of these barriers that we started with in our conversation so that I could be memorable for the people that I'm trying to reach?
Yeah, it's, gosh, I mean, I think we could talk about this for hours, literally. I mean, so it is, gosh, what do you think are some of the biggest, what do you think would be like maybe a first step? If people are like, okay, number one, before I even turn that back over to you, first off, I want anybody that has not done video. Okay. Funny enough, I actually did a video marketing. I've done video marketing forever. I did a video like a year ago that said, if you haven't started using video, please don't, because it makes me and the rest of my clients look even better. Okay. Because we stand out even more because there's less people doing it. But see, I was being tongue in cheek in that. Look, I want everybody to do video and stop. Okay. I'm a straight shooter. For those of you that know me, know this. If not, stop making excuses. Okay. And a lot of people, I know some very other prominent people that were on TV a long time that would never get back into doing video because the lighting wasn't perfect, because they were so worried about their hair and their makeup, but they're this, and you touched on it earlier. Okay? Let me just say this. It's hard to be this beautiful and polished. I get it. Okay? Look, you might have seen me stand up a little bit ago. I have a dress shirt on and shorts and flip-flops. Okay? Doing this video. I'm doing it from my home because I couldn't get to my office in time to do this video. Everything's not perfect. My vacuum, our robot vacuum, turned on a few seconds ago, hence why I had to get up and turn it off. Dogs might bark outside. Who cares? Because it is all about the education. It's all about the information. And if people like you, they don't care. You're real. You're a person. Any second, Michelle's one of her 9 kids could start screaming. Okay? And so no, she only has 2. So, but they could. Things are going to happen, but that doesn't give you an excuse not to do something. And stop defeating yourself before you have the opportunity to do something amazing for yourself.
I think, I could hear myself. I hate that. Can you hear me still?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got you.
You said so many important things there, right? And I think one of them is, how do I get started if I'm so afraid of everything that could go wrong? Listen, I was in news. I was on camera every single day for 15 years. And you would think that it would be such a natural transition for when I chose to get out of it to be popping up on video every single day of my life, in my kitchen, in my dining room, changing diapers. But you know what? That was a barrier for me too. Oh, I don't know. I can't get my makeup on today because the kids are screaming and it's just not going to happen. Well, if that keeps going on and on and on, day after day, that guess what? A year could go by without you putting out your unique voice that deserves to be heard, right? So if you're an entrepreneur and you're just starting up, you're starting up for a reason, right? You believe in yourself, you believe in your message, you can do this. Well, how am I going to know all of that excellence unless you share it with me? So you got to get beyond that, all of that angst, because everybody has angst, even people who used to do it every single day. So you mentioned, what are the 3 tips or the 3 beginning things that you could do if you're just going to be starting this in 2020? And I think the first step is you be you, right? You do you. And that goes for everything from, if you have children and you need to shut off your live quickly because you have to tend to something that disastrous that just happened, you do you, right? You can't worry about what everybody else is thinking, because if you do, you will never start articulating your message.
Oh my God. Yes.
Well, oh my God. Oh my God.
I have so much to say about all that. I'm like, oh my God.
So the next thing I think that is important for people to do. So 1 is you do you. 2 is schedule time. So this was big for me, and it is for a lot of people that I speak to, is that they will always say there's no time to do video because I'm in the operating room. There's no time to do video because I'm working on the analysis of how many pharmacists in this country are doing things the right way. Right? There's no time to do X, Y, Z. And we could all say that, right? So, I mean, I don't have time to exercise every day. But if I schedule it,
right.
and that's not anything new. But I think a lot of us wait for these like blockbuster insights, when if you just take the normal things that happen, problem-solving skills, and you put it to use, things are going to change. I think we put, again, that barrier of all these things can go wrong. I have to wait for the perfect moment. I have to wait for this perfect time. And it becomes so far out of reach that we let it go by. Instead of just saying, no, you just have to eat better and work out more and you'll lose weight. We're waiting for like these catastrophic
monumental
messages.
Here's my 90-day meal plan that I use, So no, look, I love what you said here, and I want to get on to content real quick here in a minute, but and then we'll wrap it up with content. You only have to be, see, people, like you said, they think they have to have this monumental stuff. You only have to be 10 minutes ahead of someone else to teach them how to do something. Think about that. You only need to be 10 minutes ahead of someone else to teach them how to do what you just did. So things that you think are just minute can be mind-blowing to other people. Mm-hmm. Okay? So you can share that knowledge if you're 10 minutes ahead of them on one thing. Now, let's also talk about this one thing is content. People are like, well, I don't know what I would say. And I'm going to suggest a couple different things. As I've mentioned, it's not how you build a following, it's that you build a following. It's not even how, it's that you do. If you're in insurance, and I have a company, I'm going to give you a real quick kind of story, okay? And we'll talk about content. I have a gentleman that he's an amazing guy. He has purchased a 60-year-old property and casualty insurance company. It's been in his family. He's taken it over. And, but he wanted to get into doing some content marketing, podcast videos, all this stuff. And people aren't going to listen to stuff about insurance. I mean, it's not. Insurance is not something you wake up in the morning and be like, oh, I love insurance. And man, I can't wait to pay my insurance. They don't, especially car insurance, stuff like that. But what we did is we created a content strategy for him that utilizes his 35 years in the restaurant industry. Because restaurant owners are great people for his insurance company. They're great prospects. So what we've done is have them start creating content that talks to restaurant owners about how to decrease their food costs, how to get more people in the door, how to handle customer complaints, how to hire the right people, how to not fire everybody when you come in after they made a mistake. I mean, little tiny things, but he's talking to restaurant owners, which, and again, he's building a community online with his content. And then he's also, also one thing that you should do is look at your insurance costs for your restaurant, because of a lot of things you can save money on. Oh, by the way, we own an insurance company. So your content of your videos doesn't even have to be just your videos. You could create a following with people based on, I have a guy that owns a physical therapy place that he's going to start doing about fishing. He loves fishing. Well, where I live here on the coast, man, like everybody fishes or wants to be fishing. So you can create content not only about your business, but about other things that you can create connections and engage people of similar interest.
Absolutely. I think it comes down to, are you talking solely about your professional life, or are you talking about your personal and your professional life? And I said this last week. I don't know why we say this is my personal life, this is my professional life. We have one life. Right?
We have one life.
So we need to talk about them interchangeably in what we do, because again, people buy from other people, and you're not solely a healthcare provider. You're not solely a pharmacist. You may be a father. You may be a golfer. You may be et cetera, et cetera. So it's about weaving who you are and the story of you into your video marketing strategy. And I really think that that's the key.
I agree. So is there any last minute tips that you would like to give before you tell them how they could get a hold of you, to maybe at least talk to you? I know you're not an attorney that as soon as you get you on the phone, okay, meter's running, baby. You are more than open, I know you, to help people and talk to them, kind of even help them kind of create a plan, and at least have an initial conversation, right?
Of course. So you could contact me anytime. I will give out my real cell phone number.
You're right.
The one thing I will say before we talk about how to get a hold of me, because I will help everybody I possibly can in creating a smart video strategy for their business, is I always like to give people a reason to light a fire under XYZ, right? So you need to put into perspective why video going into 2020 is so important. And we talked about just that it is, but we never put any numbers behind it. So I just want to leave people knowing that on average, a business puts out about 18 videos a month, right? So this is where you could think about how do I fall in this picture and why video is so important. So an average business puts out 18 videos a month. There's 293 videos in a business on average, and all of these stats are late 2019. So I guess the reason why I'm painting that picture is that your competition is already on the video bandwagon. So we kind of have to dig deep here on why you're not doing it yourself. And that's why I help people. I take their hand, I guide them through it, not only with the content of the video, but also getting them comfortable and confident on camera. 95%, I hope you talk about this with your people, Steve, is that 95% of the messages in video gets internalized. But if we're doing it in a text, which is where most of these people feel more comfortable getting their message out, only 10% gets internalized and understood. So I know we're kind of like back-ending these stats in, but I think they're really important so that people can say to themselves, here's the data, right? Here's the reason why I need to do it. Now I just have to get up and do it. And who do I feel comfortable doing that with? And that's how I think that people need to enter 2020, going beyond the should I do it, how do I do it, into just doing it. Like, let's take that leap, right?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you 1,000,000,000%. No more excuses. It's 2020. Okay, it's time for you to go. And also, I will also say this. There's a lot of people that take training, okay? Here's what other people will say, is they'll say, well, what I'm going to do is I can watch videos about how to do video and I'm going to do it myself, okay? And that's fine. Your heart surgeon can also tell you exactly how to change the valve in your heart, but I don't suggest you do that yourself, okay? You could learn a lot of things. And why you hire someone like Michelle to help you with this is because you have someone, an accountability partner. You have an expert showing you how to make it effective. Because there's a big difference between doing something and doing something that gets results. We talk about this with web, with podcasts, because there's a lot of people that just say, I just had someone earlier this week tell me that, we're just going to do it yourself. I love your ideas, Steve, and we're just going to do it ourselves. And I looked at him and I said, well, then you're going to get the same results you had last year.
Did they understand that, though?
Which good. Well, some people don't, and some people they don't want to do that. And that's fine. That's okay. Not my client. And, I also had one other person. This is a great little story, and then we'll wrap this up. I had someone that does technology. And I showed them how they should be doing video. You could take a piece of technology every day and show people how it works, how can it affect their business, great stuff, all these cool things you can show visually. And we created this cool strategy for them. And then they looked at me and said, well, you know what? We don't want to do that strategy because we don't think it's going to work for us. And I looked them back in the face just like this. And I said, that's interesting because it has worked for every other person that's ever done it. But for you, it will not. So I understand. And that's why we can't take you as a client. See, stop fighting. Okay? You're hearing people that have been successful in this talk about this. You know it. Okay? You know it. You right there know it, that video can work for you. And you should be doing it. So stop fighting yourself. And maybe you tried it in the past, it didn't work. Well, maybe you need to find an expert that can help you do it like Michelle. So into that, how would they get a hold of you to do that?
Thank you, Steve.
Yes.
I love having conversations with people. I love getting to know them. I love getting to know their story and crafting that video marketing plan. But honestly, if you guys just want to have a 15-minute chat on the phone and you are ready to do something in 2020, then here is my number.
I'm ready.
732-616 6019. I'm super open. I'm a take it or leave it kind of gal. I will be straight up with you. I will tell you what's working, what's not working. And if you want to schedule a phone conversation with me for those 15 minutes, you could go to my website, which is michelleburdo.com, MICHELLEBURDO.com. And I'm just here to educate, man. That's really it.
Man, I got to get good at saying my name, like spelling my name out, STEVEPL, like with the flair you did right there. See, I got to get better at that. I love that. So, well, look, I can't thank you enough. It has been an honor and just so warm. It's always, I love you to death. It's been way too long, and I just appreciate you and everything that you've said today, and for enlightening all our listeners and viewers out there. So I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Steve. I really appreciate it.
All right. So look, check it out. Subscribe to the podcast. Okay. Subscribe to this podcast. Listen up. We have a lot more guests like this. I guarantee you're going to hear Michelle again. So if you really love what she said, go check her out, michelleburdo.com. I'm not going to spell it out like she did. I don't have that flair yet. I'll practice. But also, contact her. She is a fabulous person to work. She is experienced, and she will help you get your video strategy done that can help you rock your business. All right. Well, thank you again, Michelle. We'll talk to you guys soon. All right. So,
buddy, thank you so much.
Hey, thank you.
For those of us who have been watching this on LinkedIn Live or YouTube or Facebook, thank you so much for being a part of our conversation. We went into so many things, Steve. We really ran the gamut. I hope people aren't running away from that conversation because we overloaded them with too much. If you had to take away the 3 action items from that conversation, what would it be? What are the 3 most memorable things that we said?
You're asking me? Oh my God. So
you did pay attention, right?
I love, right? No, I was listening to, no, okay. So I was thinking about fishing and all that stuff. No, engagement. I love what you said about engagement. And I mean, there's so many things, keeping people engaged. See, you have to have an expert that helps you format these videos the right way. Because it is so true that you lose people in 5 seconds. They turn on your video. You don't say something that gets them like to say, okay, wait a second, I need to hear this. Within the first few seconds, they will not listen to it. The video length. They click on a video, it's 5 minutes long. They're not going to watch it. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things that an expert like Michelle can help you figure out how to get the most out of it. And again, it's not that you're just doing it, it's that it's productive. And that's everything that you do. Whether it's websites, we say, hey man, there's great web designers out there. But is it creating leads for you? Podcasts, anything. You can do it yourself, yes. But you can waste a lot of time and money doing that when you just hire an expert that can do it. And I know, you're not talking about having to take a mortgage out on your house to hire her to help you do this. Okay, I'm serious, right? So it can help you get things done bigger, faster, stronger.
Yeah. I mean, I think that for people who are like, whoa, what are you guys talking about? I think it's just that one idea of thinking about how do I start my video? You start it with an engagement factor. To do. Number 1, start with engagement, right? Start with something that's going to pull people in. You don't have to say your name. You don't have to say, hi, I'm Michelle Burdo. I'm a former television news anchor, and now I teach executives how to look good and sound good on camera. No, you don't. Thank you. I know my lines, right? But I never say that when I first go on video because who cares? Who cares? Right?
I agree.
Who cares? The only thing that matters is if I'm going to give you something of value. And if I craft my message of how to pull you into that story, that's the first thing that people could start doing today to get launched for 2020 when it comes to video. Okay, number 2, what do you got for me? Second most memorable thing.
All right, to not wear shorts when you're doing a video podcast because you might have to stand. No, I'm just kidding. So no, is also show your personality. See, she said something. What I say, like similar to what she says, I say you do you because you is awesome. Mm-hmm. All right. See, people buy people. That's something that's so you've heard me say it 100 times already this podcast. And so be you. If you are not, the reason why, there's lots of times I'll do videos and I will show people I'm wearing shorts and flip-flops. That's what I would commonly in my office, And that's me. Why is my company called Rock Your Business? Because that's me as well. I'm a Pantera, Metallica loving, I'm a high energy guy. Like, that's what I love. And I want people to have that energy and be excited about their business. So we try to bring that business into people. One time in my whole career, 24 years, 35,000 plus clients, have I ever had somebody say, I can't do business with you because the name of that company, Rock Your Business, is a little silly, don't you think? And I looked at him and I said, you know what? You're right. I should have called it Stephen Placey's consulting firm because that's exciting.
I hope you ended it with 2 thumbs up.
And I did. I actually did do that too because
awesome.
because it's ridiculous. Okay,
Yeah.
So be you. People fall in love with you, and if you're fake on camera, then man, you better be fake all the time, and that's exhausting.
Yeah.
Right? Like for real. So that's 2 of my top things that we definitely talked about.
This is a side note. I had a news director one time tell me that I cannot smile as much as I do on air. I got scolded. But that's my baseline. I just smile. I'm not going to smile when I talk about bad things, but this is who I am. If you don't like it, then I'm going to have to find a different news station. And I did. So
and you did.
There's that.
There's that.
Because whether it's a playbook for video or a playbook for life, you do you is the headline. Always. You do you.
It is. And number 3, get started. Okay. If I will say that, is that, stop making excuses. See, any excuses that you have, it only is hurting yourself. Let's be honest. Okay. There's a guy out there calls himself the pit bull of personal development. I'm not a huge book reader. It puts me to sleep in like 2 pages. I'm an audiobook guy. Okay. And that's just, I wish I was. Yes, I can read. It puts me to sleep. Okay. So I'm being honest and real. But in the book, one of the only books that I've picked up and read all the way through, with the first paragraph said this. He said, if you're picking this book up, Larry Winget, the pit bull of personal development, picked up the book, and on the first page it says this. It says, if you're an entrepreneur or a solo or the owner of a business, you're a solopreneur or you're the one ultimately responsible for the success of your business. Number 1, if it's not performing like you want, you have to accept one of 2 things. You're doing either something you shouldn't or you're not doing things you should be. If you can't accept that and understand you can change that today, if you can't accept that, put this book down because there's nothing I or anyone else can do to help you.
So let's give people a strategy about that principle, because that's a great principle, right? Of just get up and do it. I think that sometimes when people hear get up and do it, they could easily say, that's what everybody says. How do I get up and do it? So I would like to brainstorm one thing on how to get up and do it. And I would say the idea of think about what is the one obstacle. I know you probably think you have many. What is the one obstacle, the biggest obstacle that you have that is stopping you from doing XYZ? Maybe it's videos, maybe it's just even starting your business. What is your biggest obstacle? And then once you name it, then you could create the strategy on how to fix it. And it could just be one small thing. So for me, I'm going to use myself as an example, talk about personal and professional life meeting in one space. So for me, being on LinkedIn Live, hello everyone, is a bit of a challenge for me because I have very small children that could pop up maybe now. Anytime. So for me, I had to identify that and be real with myself that this is truly stopping me from doing bigger and better things. Mm-hmm. And I needed to just say, well, I have to find a remedy for this. So for me, that was talking about getting babysitting help, daycare, et cetera, et cetera.
Whatever it is.
I had to name the problem and then create a problem-solving strategy to move forward. So when we talk about that idea of just get up and going, that's how you could do it. Think about the one thing that's your biggest problem and then get up and do the solution that you created for that problem. And it really is that easy. So let's wrap up the 3 things that were most memorable for you, Steve. You said the idea of using an engagement factor in your videos. That I preach that because that is so important to get people involved in your story. 2, you spoke about personality. We were discussing you be you. You be you. You do you. And then number 3 is that idea of get up and go, which we discussed a strategy on how to do that. Identify your biggest obstacle and then just put a problem-solving technique into that so you could see the solution and move forward finally. Any last words for this podcast? Not forever, but
forever. My final statement. No, I drank what? No, I'm just kidding. So that's the final statement. But no. See this personality, see this interaction, like this is what you want to do. Okay, people, and I appreciate anybody watching on here, and I mean it's been like an hour, so man, if you're still watching, I just can't appreciate you enough. Have gratitude, be real, help people out, and just have an attitude of gratitude. I know that's kind of one of the little things, but it's true. Be humble. Be yourself and just share with people great things you can be 10 minutes ahead of them on. That's what I would say would probably be my last words on this. I
love you, Steve. I really can talk to you forever about this because I think we both genuinely just love the idea of video. We have a passion for it. I think people see that passion, which, hey, headline is the reason why we do this on video.
Yeah, right.
Hey. And see.
We practice what we preach. Wow, imagine that. That's why we're successful. Ta-da. It's not hard. It's not rocket science.
Nope, it's not. Tell people how to reach you and your business.
Cool. So you can reach me. Our website is RYB Inc. That's RYBINC.com and RYBINC.com. See, I'm going to practice my Michelle Berto kind of ring. All right. You can find me on all social media, Steven Placey. That's STEVEN PLACEY. Our office is 321-244-6629. Look, and we're the same thing. Look, we generate ideas for people. We focus on branding and business development. So if you want a plan, you want a strategy that includes video but goes beyond video. Big thing right now we're talking about is podcast. We have a podcast mastermind group that starts again in January. You thought about creating a podcast? You can record your podcast and video just like we did right here at the same time. So cool stuff. I appreciate you, Michelle. Thank you for having me on here. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. 52 minutes long, buddy.
Sweet.
We hope that you're leaving this conversation with value and 3 things in your head that you could start doing today. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Steve. I will see you next week live from this wonderful setting.
Thanks, Michelle. Thank you. Have a great one.
Talk to you soon. Bye.